What's up, YouTube? Today we're back with a video. We're gonna be doing a mullet with a taper fade just on the sides, and we're gonna also clean up his eyebrows, and we're gonna do his beard as well. As you can see, I started off with my outliners. We're doing a rounded mullet, so I'm only gonna be cleaning up the edges. We already rounded it off last time. This is my second haircut with him growing it out. So as you can see, I'm just cutting off all that neck hair and giving it back shape. Make sure to comb that hair down just so you get every single bit of hair that you need to get. He has a little swirl there. It might look like a patch, but that's just his natural hairline. So I just want to point that out. Right after the neckline, I'm gonna move behind the ear, and we're gonna curve right around the ear just to clean that up before I start on the taper. Use your corner, and again, be very careful when you do around the ears. It's very sensitive. I grab the corner of my blade, and I like to do this upside down U shape, almost like a sideways D. Make sure to clean that up. Clean it up before you hit it with the shaver, so it's a lot easier. We are just coming in and flicking out with the shavers. Then I quickly jump into my walls lever open, and we're gonna go up about a ½ inch, flicking out at the top. Stretching the skin out helps to stabilize the area, makes it a little bit easier to fade, so maybe try that out. I close my lever, and I'm gonna work that bottom line out in a circular motion, just using the edges of my blade. I like to have a slight arch on my tapers just to keep the sides darker. Therefore, it'll look sharper when I line it up. At this point, I am adjusting the lever a little bit just to blend in the 0 to the. Take your time with it if you're a beginner. Focus more on your strategy and less on the time. The time will come eventually, just master your technique. Anybody can be a great barber at the start, just have the right tools and have patience at first. This is me cutting hair on my regular work days, in case you were wondering. I'm gonna go ahead and fade the beard out while I still have my wall. Now we're doing the opposite of what we did on top. We're starting at the highest lever open, and then we're gonna work our way down to the 0. If you've never done this, be very careful at the start. And make sure to brush off the loose hair as much as you can so you can actually see what you're doing. If you work on a hairy surface, you're basically cutting blindly, so again, make sure you always brush. I'm gonna finish off this little fade with my trimmers to give it that final touch. Now back to the actual taper. I slapped the number 2 guard on my wall clippers, and I'm gonna clean out the bulk on top. Keep in mind, I'm only using the edge of the blade. Use the moving blade on your clipper blade as a reference to where the hair is being cut. Brush the hair down consistently so you can see the work that you've done so far. Keep in mind, I'm working with a wall guard system, so it might vary different depending on the clippers that you use. What clipper brands would you recommend? Drop it in the comments. Next, I slap on the 1 guard, and I'm gonna open the lever all the way up, and we're gonna go up about ½ an inch, and then we're gonna close up the lever and work our way from bottom to top. Don't forget that whenever you're fading hair, you're always flicking out at the top. You start off completely parallel with the clipper, and then you flick out 10 degrees at the top. It might be hard at the beginning, but the steady hand will come with time and practice. I've been cutting hair now for 15 years. I started off as a sophomore in high school, cutting on my own hair and family, but I eventually got my way up to where I'm at now today. Anybody can be a decent barber after 1 year, maybe 2 to 3 years if you want to be a great barber. Always do better than your last haircut. That is the key to becoming great. And now to get rid of the last guideline, we're gonna slap on the ½ guard. I'm gonna be tweaking the lever as needed. I suggest you do the same. Thinning shears help to keep the hair darker while still debulking, which is exactly what you're looking to do when you're fading any hair. So I grabbed mine just to give it a more professional look and a more finished look. You don't have to get anything crazy expensive. I grabbed these off of Amazon, and they've been working just fine. I had them for a couple years now. Next, I'm gonna line up the C cup using my Babyless FX1 trimmers. I just bought these, and honestly, I love them. I'm probably gonna wait a month before I do a review on these because I really want to use them before I even say anything about them. Remember to only use the corner of the blade whenever you're lining up any curved areas. And be careful with that ear part, it's very sensitive. I don't think there's anything more that clients hate than random ass hair patches just sticking out, so clean them up good. I like to use the entire blade when I do the forehead part just because it's a flat surface. Onto the other side, grab a small tooth comb, grab your liners, tilt them so you're only using the edge, and we're gonna go all the way around the ear, always cutting against the grain. Right after high school, I did go to barber school, which was 10 months. It took me about a year to finish. 10 months in barber school, and straight after, I worked at a barber shop. I worked at 2 barber shops, and now I am just straight out of the garage. I built a studio. I've been here for 3 years, and business has been great. I would highly recommend having your own barber suite or studio, but not until you've done your work at a barber shop and built up a clientele. Try this little trick that I do on my taper guideline, and I promise it'll be better. Try it out, you might love it. I always start off with the trimmers upside, then I turn them around to get it real close at the bottom while I'm flicking up at the top. I really like to use the shavers to shave the neckline and behind the ears. It's just so much easier than shaving with a razor. I'd recommend you try that, and it's another method too to kind of speed up your haircuts, and it does honestly a better result in my opinion. But it's totally up to you, I just prefer this method. The journey of being a great barber is finding whatever works best for you and eventually tweaking your style until you get your very own style. Putting your other hand on the clippers as well helps to stabilize the clipper. So again, to beginners, this will help you a lot. Try this tip out and let me know how it works for you. I'm curious to know where you guys are from. Do you guys work in a barber shop, in a barber suite, and how much you guys charge? Let me know, drop it in the comments. Are you charging $200 a cut? Are you charging $5? Are you whipping out really detailed haircuts? Are you doing quick 10-minute haircuts? Let me know. There's just so many ways to cut hair. There's not just one style at this. You can do it in so many different ways. There are so many ways to go about this industry, this career, so find what works for you, what you prefer. People are gonna say this way is better, that way is better, but honestly, just stick with what you prefer. Don't overcomplicate it. When you watch my videos, I want you to take my advice. I want you to try my tips and tricks, but I want you to take what you like and leave what you don't. I want you to be the best version of yourself. It'd be awesome to build a community on here on YouTube and just share a bunch of advice with each other, and any advice that we all picked up that can help each other get better faster. It could be about cutting hair, it could be about clients, how to be more professional, how we can advertise, just how we can promote ourselves better. I mean anything, just anything barber related, business related. I remember being young in high school, and the main reason why I got into cutting hair is because ever since I got a fresh haircut at a barbershop, I was just hooked. And honestly, we didn't have the money growing up, so I wasn't over here getting, fresh cuts every weekend like a lot of people do now. But the only way I could stay fresh all the time for school was to learn how to cut my own hair. So I remember my mom picked me up a pair of $20, the wall colored guard kit. I'm sure everybody's seen them, but those were my first clippers ever, and I used those to learn how to taper myself, how to fade myself. I eventually started to cut a couple friends, a lot of my family, uncles, brothers, my grandpa. I mean, that's exactly how I started. I wasn't charging. Some people were giving me a few tips, and I just used that money just straight into my business again and bought new clippers, which our first clippers ever were the Wall Seniors corded at that time, and that's why I probably still use Wall today. Those were my first just brand that I've used. I love cutting hair. Another big reason I got into it is because of the freedom. I didn't ever like the idea of working for someone. I want to be full in control of my time. Fast forward now, I travel a lot. Me and my girlfriend travel very often, so even working at a barbershop, if I wanted to take a week or two off, I still had to pay that booth rent, which I did not like doing, so I had to cut that off. I am appointment only. I don't do walk-ins anymore. I like to wake up, look at my barber schedule, look at my day, and not have to worry about stressing myself out with walking. Back to the video, guys. I know I've been rambling a lot, but as you can see, I'm using my favorite tool, the thinning shears. Again, we are keeping that length. We're just really removing some bottom layers just to help to blend it better. Still keeping it dark, so it's a very beautiful contrast from the skin to the dark hair. Back to my liners. We're gonna use the corner of the blade, and we're just gonna work on that C cup. Still keeping it, we're not pushing it back, we're just cutting enough where it's in between natural and lined up and clean. He has long hair on top, so it's kind of unnecessary to line up the front unless they want it, but in this case I'm just cleaning all that baby hair off, and that's pretty much it. Blow dry that hair so you can actually see the work that you've done so far. Sometimes if you leave the hair wet, they're gonna get home, the hair's gonna dry up and there's gonna be a bunch of little spots that you missed, or it could be a whole different haircut. So just make sure to have a blow dryer and dry that hair up. Doesn't have to be an expensive one, it just has to dry hair, so don't worry about buying a $400, cordless dryer. Not gonna lie, if I got one for free, I'd use it. Now we're gonna work on the shaving part. So I'm gonna grab my Elegance shaving gel, and I'm also doing his eyebrows, so I'm gonna be rubbing a bit on his eyebrows as well. We're not gonna do anything too drastic with his eyebrows, we're just gonna clean up all the hair on the sides, but still keeping his natural shape, no arches, nothing, just still keeping it pretty masculine. Let me zoom in for y'all so y'all can actually see what I'm doing a little bit better. I use Astra blades. I slapped some on my butterfly straight razor. We're gonna start with a C cup. Moving straight into the eyebrow just to save time. I'm doing this video on my work day, so if you see me, cutting corners to save time, that's exactly what I'm doing. I do this on actual time, on actual client. If you guys want to see me drop a video on eyebrows for men, definitely drop a comment and I'll make sure to make one. It's not that hard, honestly, but this is a service that I just provide for free with every haircut. A lot of guys don't think they need it. A lot of guys don't like to pay for it, but trust me, it just adds to the experience of getting groomed. You want them to look in the mirror and be like, holy shit, I didn't know I could look like that. We are put here on earth to service people with our skills, and this is exactly what we're doing. Giving them confidence and changing their lives for the best. It's more than just a haircut, guys. And if you haven't learned that already, you will eventually. Let me show you real quick, guys, how I do the eyebrows. There's a very subtle, natural curve to it. And I'm using just the very end of the blade to clean it up. Nothing too crazy, again, just a nice little cleanup. Clean up around the eyes if they have that hair. Be very careful, especially with the eyelids. If you haven't done this, please take your time because it's just very risky, but it's definitely worth it. It's worth having that extra service that you can provide to people. It's definitely something that'll set you apart from other barbers. Is there any special services that you guys provide that it's different, that has helped you stand out from the crowd? Drop the comment because I really want to know. I have a few too that I wouldn't mind sharing in the future. My client is growing out his beard, so we're only going to clean it up. I have the one blade attached to my cordless detachable clippers, but you can also use a one guard if you don't have these clippers. And again, we're just going with the grain to clean up any loose hair. I grab my wall seniors and we're just gonna freehand it by cutting those loose hairs, those little scraggly sticking out. But otherwise, again, we're keeping the same shape. This requires a bit more experience, so if you don't have a steady hand, make sure to grab your other hand, put it on the clipper for more stability. After I use the clipper, I like to use a pair of curved shears. But if you're not comfortable with clippers, you can do it all with these shears here. I just like to use it to really clean up and get those hairs that I missed, and it also just gives it that nice round shape all the way around, because obviously when you use a clipper is straight, but these helps to like really curve the beard and give it a nice, just a very nice look. And then I jump into my trimmers again, and I'm gonna start setting the line on the sides, cleaning all that hair up, keeping it as natural as possible. He likes to have a bit of a corner there, so that's exactly what we're doing. I like to turn around the trimmers just to get closer and make it easier when I use the shavers. Not to mention it makes it faster as well. Make sure to trim down the mustache, and I like to use the very top of the lip as a guideline to my mustache. Even just right into the skin. As you can see, cut any random island hairs, as I like to call them, just to really tighten up the beard. Keeping it natural, but making it super clean and neat. Now, I use a double-headed shaver, but I'm only using one of them. The one that sticks out the most is the one I use especially in very tight spots, like the area that you see right around the ear. I'm gonna grab some more shaving gel and I'm gonna start on the beard. Make sure to coat all the skin that you're gonna be shaving on. Don't leave any dry spots because that might irritate your client's skin. Also, I like to use a fresh blade on the beard. So I use 2 blades per service if I'm doing a haircut and a beard. Make sure to get all the cheek hair as well. You don't want to leave any hair behind. Use a comb, it'll help you rake out the loose hair so you see that you leave a clean surface. You can have a clean haircut and a clean beard, but if you leave patches of hair behind, that could be a whole bad experience, and the guy might not want to come back because of that little mistake. I only like to slightly stretch the skin when I do the beard, because I realized when you overstretch it, it actually warps the lineup when you release the skin. So just be very careful with that and keep a mind on that. Don't overstretch. And because we're working on making a curved line, be mindful that you only use the edge of your tool. He wants to keep the beard as thick as possible, as high as possible, so even if it, sacrifices some of the sharpness, that's just the way he likes it. So I know this could be a lot sharper, but that's what the client wants. I like to use an underhand grip when I'm doing the mustache on my side right here. And again, we're just very little taking off some of those hairs at the end. We're not doing anything too drastic. He still wants it thick. If you guys want to follow my Instagram channel, it's the same handle as my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to shoot me a message or just follow, I'm always posting on my story. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. That's gonna help me a lot. I'm trying to reach a goal. I'm trying to hit at least 5,000 this year, so let's say we can do it. I remember when I first started cutting hair at a barbershop, I always used to cut my fingers in between changing the razor of my straight razor in between clients. So one thing that I do now, so the straight razor I'm using on my video here, I actually just bought them off eBay for I think $3 or $4. But now I have at least 15 of them, which I refill every morning. This is the end of the video, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you liked the video. Drop a comment, I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks again.